welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown. Joining me, Andrew Meadows.
It is I. Come to record a podcast.
Perchance you've come to record two podcasts on this fine evening. Dos podcasts. We have a very exciting MCU double feature, which, when you know it, means we've got someone joining us. Henrique Jaime, he's back. How are you?
I'm back. Konbanwa, Colton-san, Andrew-san. I'm back.
Oh my goodness, he's a changed
It's been a while.
man.
It's been a while, but for the listeners, I just got back now.
Oh man, that's true. Yeah, they. I mean, we teed it up the last time you were here, talking Captain America: Brave New World, and
that's true.
Yeah,
you went on. You went outside of our brave new country to a different country,
and they let you back in.
Talk all about that.
I tried to stop a global war, and I was unsuccessful.
Well,
here we are.
Kumbagwa.
Welcome back.
Sure.
And welcome back to the pod. Yes, we have an MCU double feature. So we've got a Disney Plus television show, which I will say wrapped up a little while ago, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet, and maybe that's my fault. It is. But we are also covering, we talked about Captain America. Now we're talking about the next MCU feature film as well, in Thunderbolts. We're not doing it on this episode. We are going to do Daredevil Born Again to start this episode, and then we're going to do Thunderbolts on the next episode. We're doing it in one night, though, so that's why I say it's a double feature. So in the interest of not keeping us here until the wee hours of the night till 2-3 a.m., which could happen and definitely is liable to happen, I've tried to structure these episodes so that they can both be recorded in the span of a single night. So we are going to chop some things out. We're going to do pretty short news with both episodes, which I'm sure is probably not a bad thing for people listening. We actually are not going to do our catching up section until the Thunderbolts episode. So I'm going to give a little sizzle for the Thunderbolts episode right now. If you want to hear about those things that Henrique was just, maybe teasing, I'm sure he's going to have plenty to share on his time in that country, in Japan. But we are not going to talk about it on this episode just yet. We do have some other things that we are going to get to, and I'm very excited to talk about Daredevil Born Again on this particular episode. But yeah, this is going to be part one of our double feature. We could have done this as one big episode. We have done that. I think we did Loki season 2 in the Marvels, I think, in one episode, and it was 4.5 hours. And it's that's a lot for me to ask anyone to listen to. It's a lot for me to listen to myself as I'm editing it, trying to turn it into something with the 19 bathroom breaks that we're inevitably taking. So my hope is that this just simplifies everything for everyone, right? It's a little more streamlined.
Yeah, maybe you watched one but not the other
You're
one.
right. You can separate it out. And you might be discouraged.
Maybe come back.
Exactly. That's a very valid point as well. So there's a few reasons I think in favor of doing it this way. So we're gonna be talking lots of Marvel stuff tonight, but right now it's Daredevil Born Again on tap. So I'm very, very excited to get into that. But before we get into that, do we want to start with a dad joke? Do we want to start with a fun fact? Do you want to keep talking about Daredevil a little bit? Get a fun fact on that? How do we want to kick this off?
You got a dad joke ready?
I have one at the ready. I am a dad. I have a utility belt of dad jokes all the time.
Oh, okay. Billy Clubs of
That's it.
I don't know,
dad joke.
Something.
Yeah,
exactly.
Bulletproof suits full.
I ask you guys. Both of you have been to Italy, right? Rome in particular,
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I ask you guys, who was the most popular Roman Emperor Mouse?
Emperor Mouse. Well, it's not the monkey from Gladiator 2, so we can eliminate that.
Emperor Mousius,
Julius,
the Conqueror.
Caesar, something with Caesar in there.
Caesar?
It's gonna be low hanging fruit. Cheeser. I'm going with Cheeser.
You guys got it. Incredible.
Oh, there
the
you
both
go.
of you put it together. Incredible. You heard it here first. Julius Caesar is the most popular Roman emperor mouse. Incredible, guys. Well done. Well done.
This is literally a first for the pod. We've only been doing this segment for, 10, 15 episodes, but still, it's been a real struggle for months. So
feels
better
good.
check that no one's dad to be.
Right?
Man.
maybe
Colton's
the
coming around the
changes.
Well, I think maybe Andrew is just exuding like double dad energy sort of thing. So
just gives it away now, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Wow, I'm flabbergasted. What do we do now?
Well, maybe
top that.
Maybe the next episode.
I got a fun fact.
I got a zinger for you.
Okay. I was gonna say. I mean, I think we're they're so early into this double feature, and yet I don't know that we can top what we just did. But let's try for it. How about a fun fact?
I don't know if I can top it, and it's a fact. I don't know that it's fun. So I'll preface it with that, but I figured it was a time to
episode.
It's a fact, and it's not fun, but I thought it was worth bringing up because I'm sure we'll talk about a certain character, the White Tiger that makes an appearance on this show, or aka Hector Ayala. Yep. And so the sad part is that the actor passed away before the show was released. So Camar de los Reyes passed away 2023. You didn't realize it's actually been some time. So I know they were working on this for a while, but I thought it was a nice touch, without getting into spoilers for the show, how they really had some scenes in particular talking about Puerto Rico and how he's talking about the frogs and the noise that they make and how tourists find it annoying, but that he feels like it makes them feel at home. And then at the end of the episode, you just get the sound of this frog, the coqui. And I don't know if we got much of it when we were down in Puerto Rico, but it was, certainly, especially if you get out of the city, you can certainly hear the frog making this little coqui. So I thought that was a really nice touch.
Yeah. No, it's you're right. It's not a fun fact.
Not the fun.
You managed to take the energy from I am elated. I have finally we have collectively finally solved a totally embarrassing dad joke, and now I'm just sad. So it's a real emotional swing with this episode. Which I mean, I would
that's
think
where we're going.
I would think, if anything, the next episode on Thunderbolts is maybe where the emotional swings might make more sense. But I don't know. We'll see if we can replicate it.
We'll see.
Yeah, he had cancer, I believe, right? I think.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't recall the type.
Age 56. But yeah,
too young.
No, I mean, yeah, and right. I mean, and it was 2023, December 2023, which just goes to show, obviously, that they filmed a lot of this show a while back. There's definitely a lot of behind the scenes stuff with the show that I'm definitely going to want to talk about when we do get to talk about Born Again. But I am glad that. Obviously, one of his final roles, they were still able to keep the material that he filmed, because I think it's an impactful performance. The scene you mentioned particularly, I think, is really, really powerful. And yeah, that's just a very sad story. To not know an actor, to be quite honest, to have never seen him in anything, and then see him in this one thing and think, wow, this guy's great, and then to come to find out
he died 2 years ago.
Close to 2 years ago. That's really quite crazy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that scene in particular was a really nice touch in how they brought it back at the end, kind of for the whole island. I'm sure it meant something for the actor too.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, all right. Well, we have an embarrassing dad joke, and we have a fact. And now we can have some headlines. Just a couple, although I sort of cheated with the second one. It'll probably be a little bit more than just a single headline. But except I'm going to try to keep the news between both episodes pretty short and sweet, relatively light, so we can talk about these things. But the first thing I want to talk about, something that came out close to a few months ago, and I've been kind of saving it until Henrique's been able to join us again, is that we're getting a third animated series in the Avatar: The Last Airbender verse, which is going to be called Avatar 7 Havens, which is going to be a new 2D animated series, 26 half-hour episodes spread across 2 seasons, and it is following Korra. It is in the chronology going to be after the events of Korra. So I still haven't watched Korra. I don't know where everyone else is. I know Henrique has definitely watched it.
Andrew, I think you still have my...
I think I probably still do.
Korra, Legend of Korra.
He's holding on to it for safekeeping.
Come on.
But I've heard Anna's watched Korra. She liked it. It's one of those things, like, we definitely intend to go to it. But obviously, we have all seen that first Avatar: The Last Airbender series, which is a fantastic series. I think I was probably the latest to the party, but I made it to the party, and that's important too. So
there you go.
So what do you guys think about a third one? I can give you a little bit of a log line if that might help you, but generally speaking, how are we feeling about something like this?
I think the most surprising thing is that it's 26 episodes. I'm like, what in 2025 or I guess 2026 has 26 episodes anymore? It's like,
True.
You'd be lucky if you get like 10 or 12. But this is awesome. Like I love the first 2, and as long as you keep most of the creative team together, I'm on board. If you tell me it's directed by M. Night Shyamalan, then I'm a little more skeptical.
I can confirm that it is not. I can confirm, in fact, it's from original creators Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko. So it's the original Avatar creators, not James Cameron, the other Avatar. But yeah.
Did they do Korra as well? The original
I believe
people?
so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think they've been kind of with it from the beginning. They were at one point attached to the live action Netflix ones, and then they weren't.
They said nah.
Those ever come out?
Still made it without them. The first season of the live action one came out.
Oh yeah.
I think season 2 is in production. There's also a feature length film with Aang, which I think is coming to theaters next year. I think at this point.
Right.
So there's
like
a lot of Avatar
one, right?
stuff. An animated one about Aang.
Yeah, with
that's like post.
Older Aang, yeah.
The events of the original series, but I think
awesome.
pre Korra. So this is the new Avatar is going to be an Earthbender. So we do know that has been revealed. Yeah. So yeah. All right. So we're all on board for that then. Sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a day one.
Andrew and I should probably watch Korra.
We should definitely watch Korra.
Yeah, there you go. Watch Korra and then get ready for this one.
I'm gonna set the thing I did with I think I said for the final season of Rebels maybe that I would watch it all before then, and then didn't do that.
Well.
So I'm going to try to do better this time, and actually watch Korra before this comes out.
Okay,
it'd be fun to watch. It'd be fun to watch one of these things as they're airing.
Yeah,
stuff coming to it, however many years after it's been totally wrapped and all that. So, all right. Well, that's headline number 1. Headline number 2, actually. Well, I take it back. Although we will not hear about Henrique's adventures in Japan on this episode, we will hear about Star Wars in Japan. Because I think maybe just a week or 2 after you left.
It was actually I didn't realize that timing. It was like the week before, I think.
Was it before? Okay. It was like right around the time that you were there,
yeah.
but not literally the time you were there. Star Wars Celebration happened, and it took place in Tokyo this year.
Oh, what are we doing? Would you? That was poorly planned.
Come, yeah.
I mean, on one hand,
though,
that's like
packed,
4 days,
fair.
and it's and I will say, I mean, there's some cool stuff that was announced. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know that there was any like, holy shit, I would have paid hundreds of dollars to be here sort of levels of announcements, if that makes sense. But there is some cool stuff. So we're going to talk about some of those cool things right now as our final headline of just what did Lucasfilm bring to the table? What did they tease in terms of the upcoming film TV slate for Star Wars? Because, I mean, we're kind of still in that period right now where the the Disney Plus side of things is really what's been carrying the load so far. Mando, Ahsoka, obviously very recently Andor, but the film stuff has been kind of MIA since the Rise of Skywalker. So on the film front, we'll start there. On the film front, we got some new information about, and I'm just going to I'm throwing this information at you. I'm dumping it. Stop me if you want to talk about it. If you want to just have quick thoughts at the end. I'm however it makes the most sense to handle this. So I will not feel slighted if you interrupt me. We got a title and like very slight extra information on what the Sean Levy Star Wars movie is going to be. So it's going to be called Star Wars: Starfighter, and just literally the symbol colon, just to clarify. Called Star Wars Starfighter. It's going to star Ryan Gosling as the lead character, a brand new character. He was there. He was in Japan. It's going to come to theaters Memorial Day 2027. So it's just a couple years away. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what we know about it. 5 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. So this is post sequel trilogy. Not so. I think I might
somehow Palpatine returns.
Talking about this in the past, I like stopped thinking about 5 years after, and I was just like, oh, it's the Mandoverse. And I was like, no, it's like 30 years after.
Yeah.
So this is New Jedi Order, whatever the hell's going on, with Rey and company. So yeah. First thing that we'll be seeing post sequel trilogy. So, all right, we could do a quick yay or nay system. What do we think? Yay or nay on a Star Wars Starfighter with handsome man Ryan Gosling, directed by Sean Levy?
Sure. Yeah, I could go for that. I want to see some more, but
this probably means we're not getting Rogue Squadron, but I don't know. I mean, that could totally be different, but I just, Star Wars Starfighter and Rogue Squadron, I don't know. Seems unlikely.
I think I would honestly prefer, don't get me wrong, Rogue Squadron, I was pumped about Rogue Squadron. There is something very good to be told with Rogue Squadron.
They put Patty in that damn cockpit, and then they never did anything else.
Yeah, no. Oh, no.
I couldn't be more stoked about this. I think this is going to be something really good.
All right, right on.
But who's Sean Levy? Who's Sean? Tell me, what's he directed?
That's a fair question. He has most recently directed Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay.
Prior to that, Free Guy. Other things. He did the other Ryan Gosling, the Netflix one. The Ryan Gosling.
What you're saying is it could be
Netflix one.
Maybe like
he does like Ryan's.
Yeah, he likes Ryan's.
Maybe like a smuggler or like something like this, or that maybe finds himself in a position to where he has to find responsibility and be a starfighter, something like that. Maybe.
Sure, there you go.
Sure. Did you write the script? Did you do it?
Writing credits.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, we know
Ryan
the timeline.
Gosling.
We know he's playing someone, and that someone is Ryan Gosling, and that's pretty much what we know. So yeah, we'll see. We'll get more information on it, I'm sure. It does feel like if they're peddling Ryan Gosling and company out on stage, maybe this is a movie they're actually making, which is good. We haven't seen many of those.
There's a date, so that's something.
May 28th.
Yeah, it has a date. Yep, 2027, just 2 years away. But next year, we'll be getting The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is the continuation of The Mandalorian, but on the big screen. And we got a little bit of information on it. It's going to star Pedro Pascal and a puppet, which I know is hugely surprising to many. But it's also going to bring some old faces, some new faces back. Apparently the character of Zeb, who I think briefly cameoed in one of the Mandalorian, is going to have a role in this. There's going to be a brand new character played by Sigourney Weaver, and she is, based on what was shown to audiences, going to be an X-Wing pilot of some sort.
Fuck yeah.
So that's kind of what we got. I mean, the puppet was there. The puppet was on stage. Johnny V was there, man. You could have seen Johnny V if you'd gone, but you didn't. You missed seeing Johnny V. But yeah, this is coming to theaters 2026. So a little bit of info on that, and I think there was probably footage shown there, but not footage given to us. But yeah, this is May of 2026, so this is pretty much a year away exactly. So what do we think? Yay or nay on the Mandalorian and Grogu? We feeling it?
Are we done with Mandalorian seasons?
I mean, unclear. I mean, I guess like I don't know. I mean, it probably depends on how they're trying to do it, because Ahsoka is still going, and that's something we'll talk about in a second. Like, is this all building towards a big Thrawn finale type deal? I don't know. I mean, I really don't know if this is just what was going to be season 4, but let's just make it 2 hours and get more money by putting it on the big screen, or...
Which I'd honestly prefer that. I think some of the issues with the last season of Mando. It's like the material got stretched thin, or some of it was just not very interesting. Some of it was just not very good.
Is Jack Black in this movie?
Let's take the Jack Black Lizzo episodes out of
And
the
Lizzo.
structure and just actually make it like one
Yeah,
continuous flowing story, and you don't need more than 2 hours of real estate to do that.
I think there's I think there's a good story that definitely could be told in a movie format. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Show me something bad. You know what I mean? There's,
Like bad, good, or
no,
good,
like
bad?
Mando. The Mando had questionable things. Inconsistency, I think, is the best way to describe. Like as the Mandalorian progressed, it was just inconsistent, right? I wouldn't say any. I mean, some of it was bad, right? But some of it is fucking great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's just wild highs and lows, as it's progressed. And so if this is a way to take these characters and kind of distill it into one cohesive story, I think you'll have something very good. So in that regard, I'm excited that they potentially could be revitalizing the quality of the Mandalorian. I think it's a really good way to try to do it. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Definitely could be the case.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm just curious about what the story is going to be like. Is this going to be something that I feel like pretty much everyone and their mom watched season 1? Mm-hmm. I don't know that everyone watched all the seasons. So I'm curious, do you need to watch all the seasons to get what happens in the movie, or is this going to be like, how is this going to play? So that's probably the biggest question that I have. I'm kind of curious in.
Yeah, and I think related to that, for me, my biggest concern is this just going to feel like a long episode, or is it going to feel like a big fucking deal? Like, is there a reason this is being told as a cinematic event versus just another season of content? So I think
there needs to be consequences.
Like if it is, that's what I'm wondering. Is it going to tie into Thrawn? Is it going to tie more into Ahsoka? Or is it really just like a one-off sort of adventure sort of thing, which could be fine in a vacuum and very well done and everything. But, when you're taking something that has had 3 seasons of streaming, programming, why is it now suddenly being made into a movie? So yeah, I don't know.
That Cobb Vanth episode was awesome. That was like a little mini movie.
Hey, there's a lot of great shit in Mando, and I don't know if I would even say anything's been like super bad. I mean, I think like
Darksaber stuff was very questionable, but
I mean, it was a little wonky, but I don't know. Hey, we'll see. We'll get it's a year away. We are liable to get probably teasers and trailers for it. Probably not in the not too distant future. So we'll keep an eye on it. But over on the TV side of things, over on the live action side of the TV side of things, Ahsoka season 2 is happening. Dave Filoni is making it. Johnny V's executive producing. Rosario Dawson's back, and we got like a few details about like what to expect from Ahsoka season 2. So one thing which we had, at least Andrew and I can't remember, all 3 of us may have talked about it. I think. Obviously, Ray Stevenson is no longer with us, so they recast the character of Baylan Skoll with Rory McCann. They did put out a picture of him in, kind of the character's costume and everything, and looks like he's going to, at least physically be a pretty solid match. So something that I read, and I don't know exactly where I read it, but apparently he and Ray were friends. So it's actually, I feel like there's kind of a nice touching side of this of stepping in for a friend that passed away and taking over this role. So I think certainly he can feel the weight on his shoulders of like, I have to do this right. It's not just a paycheck sort of gig, so which I think is appropriate for the circumstances. Thrawn's going to be back. Admiral Akbar is going to be in the fucking show.
What?
So we know we've learned that Akbar is going to be involved in some capacity. We've learned that the Mortis gods are going to have some sort of presence as well, which Dave Filoni teased. And the last big piece of news, kind of teasing Ahsoka's season 2, is that Darth Vader, Hayden Christensen, will be back again. He's going to be returning for more. So I think, and it does sound like it's going to be more seeing Clone Wars era Anakin pre Vader, but pre turning into a crispy man in a suit sort of thing. So So Anakin's going to be back for season 2 as well. So that's Ahsoka season 2. How are we feeling on that?
Did you get goosebumps?
I got goosebumps. Yeah, I got goosebumps. It might be just cold. Air conditioning kicked on. I don't know.
Well, I'd say I'm starting to get warm in here, but it's cold in Philadelphia today. They say it's always sunny, but I don't know if that's true today.
You shut your mouth. It's so hot outside. It's terrible. Yeah. Anyways, I think it's going to be something good. I bet the pressure's on. I think that it's the best way to say this. I think with the passing of that main character and the level of performance that he delivered, I think the pressure's really on here to make something special. You know what I mean? To make something worthwhile. You could tell that the first season, everybody was in it on that first season, I think. And I think I don't know. I think I'm real pumped to see the continuation of Thrawn's involvement in this. I'm intrigued to see where it goes, and the Mortis gods are present. I think that really expands the universe in a big way. So I'm excited to see that as well. So I think there's a lot here to be excited about.
Yeah, I liked season one.
It wasn't perfect, but
right, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think I don't know. Dave Filoni knows Star Wars, man, and I feel like now that he's kind of at a point where, like, all right, he's done the live action stuff now. Like, I'm hoping that he can just kind of do things the way that he wants them to be done. And I don't know. Like I said, season 1 wasn't perfect, but I feel like it was pretty good, pretty interesting, and I think that it left it in a pretty interesting place for season 2. So I'm definitely excited to see the story continue and see what happens with it. So that's Ahsoka. On the animated side of things, Lucasfilm Animation is busy. They announced a new animated series called Star Wars Maul: Shadow Lord.
Maul.
A Maul-focused animated series about Maul plotting to rebuild his criminal syndicate. Nice. Sam Witwer will be back to voice Maul, set after the events of the final season of the Clone Wars. Just kind of, I guess, maybe showing how he gets to the point where he is, and that little cameo in Solo, where he's big boss man. So yeah, what do you guys think about a Maul focused animated show?
I'm pretty pro. I really like Maul and the creepy spider legs Maul, and he just kind of
got like 2 regular robot legs, but
but he was just had no real personality. I think just the way that he was written and created in the Phantom Menace, and then the animated series really gave him such more life. So sure. I like that iteration a lot. Yeah,
Andrew, what do you think?
I would like to know what the end goal here is, because currently there's no where is his syndicate now? Like, what's the last thing that's been made regarding his criminal enterprise? Do we know?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I don't know. I mean, maybe this. I don't know. Maybe this catches us up to where he was in Solo, and then
because I feel like it should have been a thing during some other
earlier
thing, right? But it's just at the end of this show ends in the cameo. It's like, okay, it's like I don't know. I really like Maul, and I feel like he's been given we know how his story ends, and we know how it pretty much began. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest with you. I feel like his character his character's whiplashy with the quality of stuff that his character's been given, Yeah. So, anyways, I really like his arc in Clone Wars. I really like his arc in Rebels. And that's about where, and of course, he's cool in Phantom Menace, but that's kind of where it ends with me. Cool arc in Clone Wars and cool arc in Rebels. So,
all right. Well, I have one last thing on the Star Wars Celebration front, and that is some information about Star Wars Visions Volume 3. Release date, October 29th, 2025. Later this year.
It's almost like a birthday present.
9 new Star Wars Visions shorts. from, I think, some returning studios, I believe some new studios as well. And in fact, there are continuations of some of the stories that were shown off in the first version in Volume 1. So we're going to get follow-ups to The Duel, to The Village Bride, and The Ninth Jedi. Those are all episodes getting follow-up entries in Volume 3. And in addition to that, we are going to, at some point next year, get a full spinoff from Star Wars Visions based off of The Ninth Jedi. So it's going to be called Star Wars Visions Presents The Ninth Jedi, and it's going to be an actual full spinoff kind of just based on that world. So we'll be getting not only a new episode following from that original one, but also an actual separate spinoff series as well. And I think that's the one where like there was a girl and then her dad was like a lightsaber smith or something like that.
Oh yeah, that one was awesome. That was really cool.
So that's
what I was going to
we're getting a follow up on. Which one is it? Yeah. Yeah, and the Duel I think is the Ronin one, so I think we're getting a Ronin follow up thing, and then the third one that's getting a follow up. I can't remember specifically what
it was, like the Studio Ghibli looking one. Maybe. With the Village Bride.
The Village Bride. The Village Bride was awesome. I remember the Village Bride.
Okay,
it was all about like the Earth.
Yeah.
Right. I was just looking at like, because I'm like, what does it look like? Oh yeah, I remember that now. I think all three of those were quite good. So I guess it probably makes sense that they'd follow up those. You know, we're not getting the Tatooine band one. You know.
Yeah, you know,
which was fine. It was fun, you know. But
out of all the things being made, Star Wars, Visions always gets me the most excited.
Yeah, I never watched Volume 2.
Oh man,
it's on the backlog.
And you know, it's just all of it's just so fresh.
Yeah,
you know, all of it's
so much new life and energy and feel for Star Wars.
It's very passionate, you know.
Yeah.
I would imagine that these people have to like advocate to make what they're making. You know what I mean? And so you can tell that they're even if they're, you know, Jabba the Hutt band or whatever, you know. Even the ones that I don't necessarily care for, they're fresh, which is cool, you know. So yeah. I'm here for it, 100%.
All right, so that's what we missed out when we didn't go to Star Wars Celebration in Japan. But now we've seen it all. You know, we didn't get to watch the fun trailers and stuff, but that's pretty much what happened. There's a bunch of other stuff. We probably would have spent hundreds of dollars on art that we would have had to somehow try to bring back to the United States. Like, good luck with that. So it's for the best. It's probably for the best for everyone involved.
Definitely for the best for the wallet.
Indeed. All right, we have one trailer, and then it's Born Again time, and that trailer is for the next Marvel Television entry, which is kind of just being dumped on Disney Plus, but it is finally coming out. This is, I guess, like parts of Daredevil Born Again, something that was filmed a good while ago and has kind of seemingly been sitting on the shelves for a bit, and that's Ironheart. Ironheart's going to be premiering on Disney Plus with a 3-episode drop on June 24th. And then I think we're getting the next 3 episodes a week later, which is going to be all of it. It's going to be it's a 6-episode deal. So I think they're bringing it out pretty quickly. I could be wrong on whether they're following that. That's what I heard. They might do a staggered release for the subsequent episodes. But yeah, 6 episodes starting June 24th at a minimum. This is Riri Williams, who was first introduced in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This is kind of the follow-up to that. The trailer starts. It's capitalizing on Sinner's success and saying, hey, look, Ryan Coogler's involved in this, so you should watch this too. And it's not a bad strategy. It's actually a very good strategy. Yeah. It's a very smart strategy to employ. But is it going to work on you guys? You know, all right, you watch Daredevil Born Again, you watch a lot of the Marvel TV stuff. Maybe you'll watch this out of, obligation. But would you say that you're interested in this independently? Excited to see Ironheart? How are you guys feeling about this?
I think Disney Plus and Marvel have not been the best at marketing, and for many things, I would say this is definitely one of them where it almost feels a little bit like they're kind of just like putting this out and dumping it. I'm unfortunately feeling a little bit of the Echo treatment of like, we did this and then we had to make it and now here you go. which I think is a shame, and I hope that it's good, but I can't say kind of the way that they're handling it is making me the most confident about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a fair read on it. It's definitely screaming Echo to me in terms of just how they feel about it and how they're approaching it, of just being and like in some ways that's fine, because I don't think any of us was really like pumped for Echo, but we all watched it. And
it's true.
And
it was like, oh, that was
it wasn't
good
bad.
time.
I mean, it had issues obviously, but like it was almost kind of like maybe the lowered expectations helped with it a little bit. And for something like this, it was like, all right, are they just dumping it because it's bad, or because they don't know what to do with it, because they don't have any intention of really following up on it, but they don't want to just scrap however many hours worth of material they shot? I don't know, but it does kind of leave it in a place where it's just like, am I supposed to be excited about this? Should I be excited about this? I don't know. Andrew, what do you think? Are you stoked for an Ironheart show? You think you're in?
I'm watching the trailer now. I actually didn't see the trailer.
Okay.
It looks it looks okay.
Yeah, it looks like a TV show. I mean, I think that, obviously with Born Again, we haven't talked about it yet, but there is definitely a cinematic quality to a lot of it. And I kind of feel like looking at this, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like a TV show, which is not like inherently a criticism, but it does feel pretty small potatoes, kind of low stakes sort of thing. But I don't know. And it's so again, like if the expectations are low and it comes in, with strong characterization and interesting things to say, then
hi.
But I don't know.
What do you think?
Hi.
Say, what do you
think, huh?
Say, here you go. There you go.
Oh yeah, there we go.
What do you think about it? Does that look good?
You gonna watch it?
Hi.
Very impressive.
He said it might be past my bedtime. I can't watch that.
Hey.
Hi.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Say, I love you.
Bye-bye. Oh, I love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, okay. Bye. Night
Say
night.
bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Love you, baby. Love you, too. He's wild. He's on the run. He turns 2 next week, guys.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
But we might go watch a movie at the movie theater. We might go watch the One-Eyed Boy movie.
Yeah.
Wait, what's that?
Guys, we're so close. We're so close.
What movie?
Theater age, getting there.
Elio, I think is the name of it. Elio?
Elio, Pixar one.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Ironheart.
Sorry about that.
I don't know.
Yes.
No worries. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. So,
TBD.
Yeah. So
I'll watch it day one. It's on. I can watch it after bedtime.
It's 3 episodes, so
it's only 3 episodes. Are you kidding me now?
It's 6 episodes, but they're giving you 3, so they're not going to string you along for 6 straight weeks or anything like that. So you can just take it all in. I feel like Echo. I think they did like all the episodes at once. It was just like, yeah,
that's
just
true.
watch it. It's like fun,
Whenever you want,
certainly
go for it.
You could watch Secret Invasion. You could do worse, So, yeah, I liked her character in Wakanda Forever. I think the suit looks better here than it did in Wakanda Forever. I mean, it's a different suit.
That's
I think
true.
The suit design is better, and it looks, practical. And you got Anthony Ramos as the Hood. It looks kind of like a little bit like a goober, but like I think that's kind of the point too. So, hey, technology versus magic sort of thing could be fun. Could be interesting.
He is the Hood in this, right?
Yeah.
Technology. What's it all about?
So yeah, we'll find out.
Magic beats technology every time, guys.
We'll find out. It's an Ironheart show. It's not the Hood show, so we'll see if that's true. But yeah. All right. Well, June 24th, maybe we'll check back in with Ironheart. I don't know. We'll see. Just a month away. But that's it. That is it for the headlines. That is it for the trailers. And it is time to be born again, if we are ready to be born again with Daredevil Born Again.
Oh. Don't.
Well done.
Don't.
Season 1 of Daredevil Born Again is streaming exclusively on Disney Plus. 9 episodes started airing, I think, March of this year and wrapped up in April. So yeah, we're about a month plus late to the party. That is indeed my fault. I was spending a lot of time rewatching the original Netflix incarnation of Daredevil before watching Born Again, and then I watched Born Again in the span of like 3 days. So I think I had a very different viewing experience than both of you did, but we'll talk about that. The show was created by Dario Scardapane, Matt Corman, and Chris Ord. Stars a long list of people: Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio most prominently, but also stars Margarita Laviva, Deborah Ann Wool, Eldon Henson, Wilson Bethel, Sabrina Guevara, Nikki M. James, Janaea Walton, Artie Fruscian, Clark Johnson, Michael Gandolfini, Ayelet Zur, Kamar de los Reyes, who we talked about at the top, and John Bernthal. So in Daredevil Born Again, Matt Murdock finds himself on a collision course with Wilson Fisk when their past identities begin to emerge. So, so you guys would have probably watched this roughly weekly. Is that fair to say, or how did you guys tackle this?
I was every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I pretty much caught up to it every week. Maybe if not on the day of release, like the week it released.
Around that time. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. And it's also then safe to say that the last time you watched anything with Daredevil Born Again would have been over a month ago then, right? Or at least roughly a month ago or so.
That's about right.
All right. So we're going to have to go deep into the memory banks. Fortunately, I do have a little bit more recency with this, so I can try to help as much as possible. But we can start in general and start with some vague conversations before we break things down and spoilers and stuff like that. So yeah, starting with non-spoilers, I'll kick it to either of you. How'd you guys feel about Daredevil Born Again?
Who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
I was leaving the floor for
I was trying to do the same thing.
I didn't see. I'm sorry.
This is a real polite situation.
No, you.
All right. So I definitely was looking forward to coming back to the world of Daredevil. I did not go back and rewatch the 3 Netflix seasons or Defenders or Iron Fist.
That's true. I didn't mention that. I did watch the Defenders. I did not watch Iron Fist.
Shame.
Which just sucks because, not to spoil the shit out of the show, but I didn't think Iron Fist was going to be the main character after the first episode. But man, that was crazy.
I mean, I was surprised, but that was the best part of the show, honestly. Or we should say that for spoilers.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Sorry guys, I'll cut that. I'll make sure to cut that, of course.
Overall, I liked it. I love the characters. I love the portrayal of Daredevil, particularly, when you focus it around Daredevil and Kingpin. It's one of my favorite hero antagonists fights and dilemmas and figuring out about the city. I think for me, it definitely felt a bit uneven throughout the week to week. So I don't know if binging it would have made it better, but I feel like you could certainly see some of the stitching that they were doing, not to the same degree of Captain America, but it was definitely a little bit of like, okay, where are we going with this? And I think where it ended, I was excited, so I'm really looking forward to season 2. But it felt like it had some things to work through and figure out and rewrite and work into it.
Yeah. Okay. Things that we're definitely going to explore more in spoilers, I will say, because there's definitely a lot of stuff that we talked about, reported on as it was happening. With the strikes affected this show in a big way, maybe arguably a overall positive sort of way, but that's stuff that we're gonna break that down when we get to spoilers, when we can really kind of dig into that. But yeah, for now, sidestepping that, Andrew, what did you think about Daredevil Born Again?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of inconsistent a little bit, but I thought it was. I say that with a big grain of salt. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was excited to turn it on every week. Even the episodes that weren't necessarily propelling the series forward, I think were entertaining. They had entertainment value, and I was excited to watch them. I actually think my favorite episode was probably just a nothing episode. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
I think I don't know. It was refreshing to see Daredevil back Very happy that we've kept this core cast,
Sure,
and I'm really excited to see my boys Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson making more shit.
I didn't mention them as they didn't technically create the show, but they did direct episodes 1, 8, and 9, and that's for a very specific reason that we'll get into. But their fingerprints they're all over the final product, the final version of this show.
Yeah, they like you say, their fingerprints are there. You can tell who made it, and they're talented creatives behind the camera, and I'm anytime that they're stapled to something, I'm excited to see their involvement. So I don't know. While inconsistent, I do think it was a very entertaining show. I think it's got to be some of the best stuff that Marvel the Marvel TV stuff has put out for sure. It's up there with the best of them, so I'm excited about it. Happy about it.
Okay, and Andrew, I expect that you also did not rewatch the Netflix show prior to consuming.
So what I
again.
did was I actually did not rewatch Daredevil. I only rewatched Iron Fist.
Well, that's then that. Paid off really
smart
well.
man.
Oh, sorry. I know we're not supposed to spoil it yet, but really paid off for that.
I
episode
solely
twist.
rewatched Iron Fist just to prime me for the kind of television that I was about to watch.
Danny.
And then dove right in.
You watched Iron Fist, and then you followed it up with Secret Invasion because you knew that those were going to be the two most plot connected to Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, I'm a masochist, Henrique, in case you didn't know that.
Clearly.
I pinned my eyelids up too, like a Clockwork Orange.
Oh man, you only got one good eye, man. You got to watch out what you intake with that eye.
Yeah.
The other one
You got to be more selective
Yeah.
about your choices, your viewing choices.
Man. Well, I can certainly say I do think there is an inconsistency to this show, and I do think that I could definitely see a scenario where watching it week to week would be less satisfying. I felt good about my ultimate decision to binge it, not because I decided to consciously, but because I was still busy catching up on Defenders in season 3 of Daredevil, that by the time I finished with those, this show was done and had been done for close to a month at that point. I did it out of necessity, but I also think that it helped because I could just kind of go right into the next thing. And that's obviously was true when the Netflix ones came out. They were just 13 episode dumps, and they were structured to kind of be that way. This show, I don't think, is necessarily structured in the same way. Like, it definitely is more of an episodic sort of format to it. But yeah, it's got highs and lows, and I don't think the lows are terribly low. But I have grievances, I guess, with some aspects of this show, which we'll get into in spoilers. But I think the things I don't have any grievance with are Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, because I think at the end of the day, the decision to bring those two back from the Netflix era of those characters and bring them fully now truly well and fully into the MCU. We had the little, fun cameo in No Way Home with Matt, with Charlie Cox back as Matt Murdock. We had splashes of Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio in both Hawkeye and Echo, but this is true full reprisal of those roles in like a big meaty sort of way, and those two are the top of their game. I mean, haven't missed a beat. One thing that I think works less from going straight from the original Netflix show into this is 3 out of 4 seasons are just Matt versus Fisk. Season 1, 3, and now Born Again, effectively season 4, if you want to call it that. It's not really, but it certainly is at this point kind of filling that purpose. It does kind of feel like, all right, how many times can they fucking do this? But those two are just so good that you understand why the creatives, every time there's creatives on a Daredevil show, they're like, yeah, but the thing about Daredevil is putting these two in the same room, or even if they're not in the same room for half the season, like just seeing what the fuck these two are up to, like that's the most interesting thing. And I can't say that I disagree, because those two are just so fucking good. There's a lot of this is a it's a pretty damn well made show. I would say overall. I mean, there's a lot of things in the behind the scenes that seem like, okay, just to slightly get into it now, like they stopped production on this while the writers and acting strikes happened. They totally retooled, reconfigured this show once they had the opportunity to review what they had filmed to that point, and they kind of really turned it into a different show at a certain point. And I think that, in the way that something like Captain America Brave New World did feel a little bit like Frankenstein together, this is in some ways where I think tonally, you think about, like, I don't know, just a random episode versus, say, some of the shit that goes down in the finale, like very wildly tonally different, very, very like big tonal swings within this season. Like, I still think that like this feels still pretty coherent, like surprisingly coherent, like in a way that it could have been a fucking clusterfuck, in the way that something like A Secret Invasion was a clusterfuck that felt like it had been, massacred in the editing room or changed halfway through. Like, that's like when you describe like how this season came to be, that's like that's what like Secret Invasion sounds like to me, or feels like, or that's what Brave New World felt like, of just this hodgepodge of a few different things. They didn't really know what the fuck they were doing, so they just tried to make something out of what they did have, and well, we had to say, call it a day at a certain point, and that's what we've got. But yeah, I don't know. So I feel like I'm dominating the microphone, I guess, probably because of the recency bias. But
no, I don't think tonally. I don't think tonally it felt whiplashy or just like it doesn't feel, or it never felt to me like it was tonally like displaced. You know what I mean? Okay. When it was just a random episode, it was just more of like I would say just like a filler episode, or did it propel the story forward? And that's kind of where I was at with the episode. Some episodes propelled the season forward. Other ones felt like it just kind of did nothing and was content to have a Matt Murdock episode,
Right. Yeah.
And tonally, I didn't think they felt different. I just felt like it didn't go anywhere for an episode,
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I feel like, did you say you liked one of those episodes in particular? Like
there was one episode. There was one episode that I very much enjoyed.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually thought it was my favorite episode, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I thought the through line for this season, they were kind of clear, like Matt versus Kingpin, Daredevil versus I guess like Fisk and his role. But certainly some of the side plots I found a bit confusing, and like, where are we going with this? And then at the end, like, where did we go with this? So I think still having the central theme being,
we'll have to talk about it in spoilers.
Matt versus Fisk was a.
I can tell that we have a lot that we want to say that we are not ready to say until we get to spoilers. So I will flatly ask anyone, is there anything else for non-spoilers? Should we do a recommendation and then get into some spoilers?
We could probably dive right in.
Okay. Well, let's do a recommendation then. TV scale, we've got very yes at the very top, followed by yes, and then totally fine, then fine, and then shithouse is the bottom rung of our scale. So how does Daredevil Born Again Season 1 stack up? How would you recommend it on our scale?
It's an Iron Fist, right? It's probably a shithouse for me. Oh wait, sorry, Daredevil Born Again. Oh, okay, yeah. No, not shithouse. Probably a yes for me. Okay. I think I would say, I don't know if we went back and talked about this, but seasons 1 and 3 for sure of the Netflix Daredevil for me are very yes.
Yeah,
like that's
if
just
we're comparing
peak.
it to previous Daredevil, then I think
that's
that
just
definitely
peak
changes
tier.
The calculus a little bit. Yeah.
So for me, this is probably a yes. Like, I enjoyed it, but I think it's got some potential to go even further.
Okay. Yes. All right, Andrew, do you agree? Would you go higher or lower?
I think yes is a solid recommendation. I think in comparison to other things that, like, do we lower the bar because it's on Disney Plus? Right, based on the other things that they put.
It's your scale.
I thought this was a top tier show for Disney Plus.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that this is a very yes show for Disney Plus. Is it inconsistent? Yeah, based on like a broader show category, not to like get into the meta of my like the way I think about things. Based on like, am I comparing this against Andor?
Well, that's Disney Plus.
It is. You're right. That is Disney Plus. Fuck.
Broke your argument in one sentence.
I did. You're right. It's true. That is true. You're right. You're absolutely right.
It's the exception that proves the rule. That's all.
Okay. Well, then I will say this is a yes show. I will agree. Thank you.
It's your scale.
That's why we challenge. That's why we challenge each other to make each other grow.
But certainly in terms of yes.
There you go.
In terms of Marvel's Disney Plus.
Marvel's now. If we're talking about Marvel's situation, I would say that it's
different, right?
It's a little different, right? They're drawing from a much more shallow well of good quality stuff, and I think that this is an exception to. I think this is exceptionally better than a lot of the other things that they've put out recently.
Yeah, and I mean, literally talking about the last. Well, I guess the last two things that Daredevil appeared in on Disney Plus were Echo and She-Hulk, right? So, I mean, obviously this is a very, very different type of show than She-Hulk and I guess Echo for that matter. But I do think it's better than both of those. So, like
it is, yeah.
Relative to those, relative to, I mean, for my recommendation, I think it's upper tier Marvel television, Disney Plus live action stuff. Without question, I think it's better than your middling stuff like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think I don't know if it's quite WandaVision, Loki levels of holy shit for me. I think it could get there. I think that's something that I would agree with the commentary of the potential for this show in the future. But I'm going to say for my money, I think it's a yes show. I think that based on its trajectory, I think that season 2 could definitely be a very yes show. And I think that I think it's well made, as I said. I have narrative qualms with some things, and then other things I'm like, great, love that, want to see more of that. I think there's just so much room to grow with this. I'm really, really excited to see where it goes, but I think I have to look at this as a 9-episode sort of deal and just in and of itself, and then also comparing it to, especially coming straight from the Netflix shows. That's something that I think, I don't know. I mean, I actually think I would look on this more favorably if I wasn't coming straight, like literally straight from, like, you guys, I'm sure have a lot of reverence for the original Netflix show. But it's pretty jarring going straight from season 3 into this, I will say, and we'll get more into that in spoilers too. But I definitely, there was an adjustment period where it was kind of like,
really,
it was a little difficult to wrrap my head around.
I could totally see that.
Because it's a big time jump.
100%.
It's a tonal change, I think, at least initially, and it's, in some ways, I mean, it's a very intentional change of course from what season 3, what the original Netflix show was.
We'll have to talk about it because I, being someone that hasn't watched it in a long time, it felt like they really captured the spirit of the.
I think some of it did. I think some of it didn't. So,
For the most,
So I'd be interested to hear what didn't. Yeah, right.
Well, anyway, I say what Henrique said. I fully agree with. I think season 1, 3 of Daredevil are very yes shows, top tier fucking television, and I think period, not just comparing to Marvel TV stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
Season 2 I like a lot. It's messy and has some stuff that's not as good as other parts, like the Punisher stuff is peak, but some of the hand stuff is kind of little janky. But it's still pretty good overall. Like some really good, interesting characterization. Season 3, like anytime it's just Matt versus Fisk, it's pretty fucking compelling. But this is not quite fully up to those marks that season 1 and 3 set for me. So I put it at a yes. I put it as a yes. All right. And I'm either going to be real ecstatic to hand out a very yes to season 2 in a year's time, or I'm going to be very disappointed that it has not gone up from here. So that's all of our recommendations. So we're going to get into spoilers, full spoilers for Daredevil Born Again, since we have been holding back a lot, I think. Why don't we talk? Let's talk about talk about the actual things that happened. Then I can kind of break it down from the behind the scenes thing of like what the hell happened. And obviously some of those conversations might dovetail into each other. But yeah, let's just. I mean, do you guys want to jump around? Do you want to go through, kind of the rough episodes? I mean, for the most part, there's kind of 2 episode clusters, with the exception of the very first episode, and I guess to some extent 8 and 9. But yeah,
can I just give a general thing about? It's been a little while since
whatever's on
your
chest.
So,
just get it off. Let us know.
I want to make sure that I have an understanding of the thrust of it all, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Kingpin gets into politics. He separates himself from his wife in order to establish, like, hey, this
in order
is
to go
front,
be an Echo.
He's gone legit.
That's right. This is the face of the business. You're doing whatever you do back there, but this is the face, right? So he's doing all this stuff in politics and this and that, and then somewhere down the line, he's trying to establish Red Hook, which is like it's like a harbor or whatever, a port of entry that has its own subset of laws because it's for some reason like different from the rest of New York or whatever, right?
There's like a charter that makes it not part of the United States, so if he's able to actually develop this, he can turn it into his own city-state, which is outside of the reach of the law, basically. Is kind of his... That's the
goal.
Plan.
Got it. Okay. And then somewhere down the line, there's the assassination of Foggy, because I guess the person he was going to protect.
Like somewhere down the line, that was like 5 minutes in.
That was well. I mean, but they spend the entire season. They spend the entire season trying to figure out who assassinated Foggy and why. Right?
I guess. Like I feel like
the who is not a question. Maybe the why.
Yeah.
Maybe is that the okay. And then
it becomes a big plot point.
Foggy does,
or the why behind it, yeah.
And the why behind
which leads
leads
them into finding out about the Red Hook.
Got it. Okay, got it. Okay,
do you feel sufficiently refreshed?
I feel sufficiently refreshed.
Well, I think just talking about the arcs and stuff will probably help somewhat inform some of the details might come back into mind as well. But,
okay.
Yeah. I guess I have a question kind of from that for the group.
Sure.
So I think the biggest change, like right from the beginning, you said Foggy dies. Like they kill Foggy off first episode. Basically, I think it was during the cold open. If you watched it more recently, it was like before the credits even roll, right? Like
literally pre-credits. Yeah.
You hear his heart stop. Bullseye shoots him. And Daredevil
throws him fucking off the roof.
Yeah, you think he kills him. I mean, he thought he killed him. And turns out he didn't die because of whatever they put in his bones. And
he's got some metal spine shit or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, that was a pretty big, like, oh shit. And that affects the whole rest of the show. So then there's no Foggy. Karen goes to San Francisco or wherever.
Yep.
So that already becomes a completely different show than we're used to. I guess especially coming from seasons 1 through 3, how did you feel like that shift? Was that refreshing or like different?
With no Foggy is what you're saying?
No Foggy, no Karen, really.
No Foggy, no Karen, right.
I think that's my biggest complaint with this show is that... So, I mean, it's my biggest complaint with the show is how far apart it is trying to it was trying to set itself apart from the Netflix show, and I think it's to its detriment because it doesn't do a good enough job of stepping away from those things that the show becomes better when it does finally step back into those things. When it goes back to feeling more like the Netflix. So I guess I might as well just do it now because it really all comes down to the creative process. When they made this show initially, when they brought in the initial show, the showrunners, creators, writers, Matt Corman and Chris Ord, it was supposed to be very episodic, very TV feeling. It was supposed to have a lighter feel from the original series. And I think the idea at that time was they wanted to bring back Charlie and Vincent because people really, really liked them and these characters, but they weren't going to make a show that was tethered to the continuity of the Netflix show. They were going to make a show with Daredevil and Wilson Fisk with the same actors, but, kind of not really beholden to everything that happened in the Netflix show, aka we don't really care about Karen. We don't really care about Foggy. We're going to make our own characters, and it's going to be a different show with the same actors. And then when the strikes happened, everyone had a chance to reevaluate the footage that was shot. And I think something that should be said is the footage that was shot wasn't bad. It was just very different. And I think Charlie and Vincent went to Kevin Feige and basically said, hey, we don't think people are really going to respond to this. We don't know that people are really like, this isn't the show that, people came to love. This is not Daredevil. This is not the Netflix Daredevil that people love and adore. And people are probably expecting it to be season 4 or feel like season 4. And this is not that. And so the decision was made. They let those two guys go. They brought in Benson Moorhead. They brought in Dario Scardapane, who was a producer and writer of the Punisher Netflix show. And the decision was made at that point. We're going to completely retool this. And the decision was made at some point. We are going to completely canonize the Netflix stuff. And we are going to make this a true, complete continuation of the Netflix show. Which is all fine and good, except they had already filmed 6 episodes of a show that wasn't. So they had to do a lot of retooling, reshooting to make a kind of complete season that still felt like a continuation and disguised the fact that a lot of the show wasn't actually intended to be a true full continuation, at some point. So some of the most obvious changes in the original iteration of the show, that whole first episode didn't exist. Foggy was killed off screen. Karen was never mentioned. There's no, Karen Page didn't exist as a character in the original incarnation of the show. Bullseye was not brought back. There's no Bullseye in the original incarnation of the show, so we don't even know who kills Foggy. So this whole, question of Red Hook, Foggy, and all that, that's all new. That's not part of the original incarnation of the show. What is part of the original incarnation of the show is basically the main arcs between. Basically when Karen's around, it's new stuff. When Foggy stuff is mentioned, it's new stuff. Everything kind of in between is basically a lot of the old stuff with some stuff that had been kind of added back in. So Vanessa Fisk had been recast. It was a different actress initially. And then when they decided to make this canon, they brought back Ayelet Zur to be Vanessa. They reshot all of those scenes.
It was awesome. She crushes it.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. And
sometimes in probably different rooms, I'm guessing. Just had to sit on the couches and different
No,
stages.
there's they had to do they might keep one angle of the thing where it was shot with a different actor, and then her stuff is just totally stitched in. The entire season, except for episodes 1, 8, and 9, episodes 2 through 7, there's a lot of shit just completely moved around or reconfigured so that it sort of still makes sense for the continuity. So some things that like the death of White Tiger, we'll get into that, obviously, that was reshot. That was handled differently. There's little things throughout that they just changed so that it could actually make sense for the continuity. Muse's victim and the who he kidnaps was originally a different person. There's a bunch of little shit that they had to kind of change and try to do to keep it all consistent. One of the things that was also an impetus for why they changed it was apparently John Bernthal saw what the original writers wanted them to do for the final 2 episodes of the original incarnation, or at least the next part of his arc, and he said, fuck that, I'm not doing that. And we don't know what that is. We don't know what they wanted to do with the character, but he's someone who's very protective of the Punisher and Punisher as a character, and was just Punisher's not going to do that. He's not going to do it while I'm playing him.
He joins the Magna Cops.
So yeah, I mean,
dude's got some. That's awesome. That's cool to hear, though. It's nice to know that somebody's there, vetting the writing room.
For sure, and so I guess pushing that 5-minute rant about all the changes they made aside, I think the problem is this show is still very much a hodgepodge of a show that is not a continuation of the Netflix show, and a show that is, we want to make this the most continuous version of the Netflix show we possibly can. And they are sometimes at odds with each other. And I think that I don't think that the non-Netflix continuation stuff is bad. I think some of it's a little underbaked, underdeveloped, to me, tonally at odds with some of the other stuff, which maybe I felt more in a binge watch than watching it week to week like you guys did, or roughly week to week. But I think for me, like, the decision, like, I think I do think they did a pretty admirable job of making the best out of a show where Foggy is dead. Foggy has been killed. Like, I think they retrofitted it in a way that, like, we are going to see that death. And it's going to be the first 10, 15 minutes of this show, and it's going to fuck you up. And, like, for me, someone, and I will say I knew it was going to happen. It's one of those classic things when you're 2 months late to the party from when that episode aired. I knew that Foggy was a goner. It had been rumored before the show even came out. There were set pictures that came out of Eldon Henson laying on the ground with blood on him. I was like, well, that seems bad. And it was pretty much just that. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't think it's a deliberate fuck you. Like, I don't think it was written in an original way of fuck the Netflix show. Fuck, it sucks. We fucking hate Foggy. He's annoying. You know, like, I don't think it was ever intended to be that. It was just kind of like, we just want to have a reason for Matt to just not be Daredeviling for like 5 episodes. And I think that that's fine. And I think there's a lot of stuff in this show that we'll get into thematically I really, really, really like. And I think that I really, really like how they approached that. To me, the problem is you're kind of stuck with this, shit sandwich of the other episodes plot-wise of trying to fit that in with how season 3 of Netflix ended. And now there's been like 7 to 10 years or whatever in universe because there's the blip and all that. Thanos is mucking around and doing shit for a while. It is kind of just like, oh man, it kind of sucks because you just immediately break the band up. And I think on top of that, you try to assemble a new band. I'm like, I don't know who these fucking people are. I don't know who fucking Sherry is.
Who?
I don't know who Krysten is. And I think to me, this is true of the show, of even the things that I don't think were tinkered with that much from the original show is there's not enough to the supporting cast. None of them could ever probably hope to replace Foggy and Karen well and truly, but it kind of didn't really feel like they tried that hard. Like, I think Heather, his love interest, his girlfriend, I think is probably the only character that's given the most play. But even then, I never really bought his relationship with a lot of the supporting cast. And I think that's something that I think is true, is just, they just didn't give him enough to do. Cherry's just a guy, he's like, Matt, you shouldn't be Daredeviling. Like, okay, well, we had that through other characters, but like one was his best friend and one was a love interest who became a very close friend in Karen. It's like, who's this guy? His law partner. Like, why does he have this law firm with someone who we don't know? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of like things about like that side of things where it's like, I think they did it because they kind of had to, because they had 6 episodes of him with another law firm, with some other person, with Cherry as an investigator. And I think they did their best to try to like, let's have a bar scene in the very beginning of here's why they're all together, but I don't know. It never totally worked. So anyway, I'm going to end my rant there. And I don't even remember what your fucking original question was, but
it was basically that. Like, how's the show without Karen and Foggy? Because that was
this
the whole
show
thing.
Would be better with Karen and Foggy. I think it's okay.
I mean, it was better
Foggy. The show was literally better anytime Karen was in it. I will say that.
Yeah, when
100%.
Karen came back, I was like, oh, I'm so back in. Like, I think when I watch clips of the old Daredevil, I go back, I'm like, oh wow, that was legitimately great. Not like good. I think there are parts of this that were quite good, but I'm like, this was a legitimately great show, great cast, great connection. So it made me miss that. So when they got back to it, I was like, oh yeah, this is what I like. Like, give me what I like. And it was a little bit of that, like, not for nostalgia, but just like, this works. Like, the formula works.
You liked a thing for a reason and you wanted more of that thing. It's okay to just want more of the same thing. If it's a good thing and it's a thing you like, it's okay to want more of it.
And you do like a new thing with it.
I really just like the themes that a character like Daredevil presents.
Oh yeah.
I think he's we'll talk about the show or whatever, you know what I mean? But just the principle of the character. I think the character is just so incredibly compelling. I think it's really awesome to think about. Just like on a personal level, he's just almost like Spider-Man.
What about him?
Almost like Spider-Man is a compelling character, and you get the Uncle Ben. You get the Uncle Ben quote, with great power becomes great responsibility, but then you have like the religious aspects of Matt and the fact that he's a lawyer by day and crime fighter by night, and it's all of it's super heady, just there's a lot to think about, a lot to process, and you can kind of like waller up in it and just like, I don't know, just really think about how that character feels and what he's thinking about and the struggles that he's feeling and the complex emotions that he's got to be experiencing while he's going through what he's going through. Like throwing the fucking guy that killed his best friend off the roof, Yeah. That's a huge thing. Like every other person would just throw him off the roof and not think twice about it. The guy's a fucking dick. Shot my friend. I'm throwing him off the roof.
Frank would have shot him, then thrown him off the
Boom,
roof, and then
exactly.
gone down and knifed him a few times.
Exactly.
Even if he hadn't shot his friend, Frank would have still shot him.
He would have done it anyway.
And Frank says, "What the fuck are you doing, Matt? What are you doing? Why aren't you throwing him off the roof?" Yeah, and Frank is like the simplest, most. He's just Frank's just kind of he's a simple
just emotion.
Character. Yeah. And it's cool that the duality exists between the two characters. And we get it again. We got it in what season was that? Was it season 3? Or was that season 3 of Daredevil? Or was it
Punisher? With Punisher?
Yeah.
Punisher was in 2.
Mostly season 2.
Yeah. But the duality between the two characters is just the most awesome thing, I think, and I think in comic books, really. I mean, a lot of comic books. I mean, we can make a lot of different arguments for that, but I think that is, I think it's the most grounded kind of way that people like deal with things. You have the Franks, you've got the Kingpins, and you've got the Matt Murdocks. You know what I mean? And I think that these like the three different people that you have here dealing with issues, I think is I don't know. I just really, really, really just enjoy the thought of it all, and
like the philosophy of each character.
The philosophy of each character.
How they go against each other in a way.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, to be honest, everything you're saying is why the original Netflix show is so good, because it nailed it all.
Yeah.
It did such a really good job of Matt's characterization, and like, I could obviously say this having really recently rewatched them, but like his philosophy, obviously he's not like, he has a no kill rule, which gets tested. The whole of season 3 is about like, we have tried to put Fisk away through the justice system, and it has failed. And now the only thing that I know that I can do is kill him. And like that, I have to break my one rule because there's just no other solution. And that's really interesting. And I think that this show thematically is really fucking interesting too. I think it does like as a whole thematically, it has really, really interesting arcs for both Matt and Fisk. Like those two, like I said, the supporting characters are very underdeveloped. The main characters are not. And at this point, Fisk is really the second main character of the show. It is very much a Fisk show, as well as a Daredevil show, I would say. And I think that there's definitely a lot of interesting stuff thematically that's explored. I will say something that Anna and I talked about as we watched it is, and something that you brought up as well, I do feel like Matt's Catholicism is kind of sidestepped in this show a lot. In
it's
the way
not
that it was in the forefront of the Netflix show, and I do think it was notably absent here. I mean, he'd go to confession. Obviously, he talked to Father Lantom for most of that show until Father Lantom was unavailable for confession. But a big piece is like his mother's a fucking nun,
right.
And like that was a big revelation in season 3, and it's like she's mentioned in one line in this entire season. And like the only real shades that we get towards the fact that he's religious is like there's a Bible verse on Foggy's, memorial card thing, and he like listens into a church for 5 seconds, and it's so minimal that it just doesn't that one thing where it's just like when Matt was at his lowest, like post Defenders losing Elektra, having a building fall on him, like he
really
kind of retreated into like wrestling with his faith of whether he could, whether his soul would be damned for killing Fisk, even though he knows or he believes that that's the only way that he can stop him. And I don't think that this show did nearly as good of a job on that particular front. I do think thematically other things it did were really, really strong, but that's one I don't think it did a great job of. So, I do hope there's more in that vein, and I think that there wasn't a lot of opportunity for it because of the way that the 3 out of 9 episodes were made by people who were like, oh, we want to do the Netflix thing, and 6 were largely made by people who were like, we're doing our own thing. So yeah, that's kind of, it's kind of how I feel about that. So, I mean, do we want to run through some of the arcs? I mean, we've kind of loosely already kind of basically hit on the major points of episode 1. Episode 1 was created to be, how do we get from Netflix show to, the beginning of this show with Matt kind of under this different life with the new law firm, no Foggy, etc. It's him. It's, putting Bullseye behind bars, and seeing obviously Daredevil suited up and having a little bit of action. Because that was another thing with the original incarnation, is that Daredevil didn't suit up in his own show until like episode 6, which could have been narratively like, okay.
Yeah. So although that scene,
you did get like a big
open,
oneer in the beginning.
Yeah, that cold open, I thought just looked bad.
It looked real bad.
Like
the CGI,
it was rough.
Rubber man sort of thing happening. That was pretty bad. Anytime they tried to make Daredevil too acrobatic, it's clear that they didn't have the time and money to actually do it in the way that it needed to be done. So it kind of just, it's, I would compare it to the Ben Affleck Daredevil, but I think in some parts it might actually look worse than that. Which is not what you want. Like, there's a lot of good hand-to-hand stuff elsewhere. And even like that, the one, hand-to-hand stuff between him and Dex in that first episode is pretty well done, but there's some weird rubbery bullshit going on, like on the rooftops and stuff that looked pretty janky. And I think that was very much a not enough time to make it look good sort of thing. I'd be fine if they George Lucased it and fixed it at some point. But yeah, I mean, first episode, like I said, that's kind of the setup. You've got, he's got a new life, basically, essentially at this point. Karen's out of the city. Foggy's dead. He's got new supporting characters, and Fisk is running for mayor and gets elected mayor. And that's kind of, it's a lot of setup building back to this point of, all right, now we've got a couple, a few arcs to kind of to play with and see what is Matt up to, a year post Foggy's death. So yeah, any thoughts on the very beginning of part of that beyond what we've already talked about? Should we get into the White Tiger stuff? Because that's really the next big arc.
No, I think that's it. Covered it.
So 2 and 3 cover the White Tiger stuff. Hector Ayala, we talked about Camar de los Reyes portraying that character. And we get kind of this idea that there are other vigilantes out there in New York, right? We've got this White Tiger who has a magic amulet. It's a thing, don't worry about it. We've also got Fisk, obviously becoming mayor and generally speaking, trying to do things in somewhat of a legitimate way, at least at the outset here. Like I want to make the city a better place, all that jazz. That's kind of what we get, and we do get one thing I really liked about this that we hadn't really seen too much since probably at least season 2 was some proper courtroom stuff. We get to see Matt being a lawyer, which he's a lawyer a bit in the first season. He like mostly misses Frank's trial in season 2 and then shows up to call Frank as a witness, and then Frank fucking loses his shit on the stand.
Have you had that happen yet, Colton?
Okay.
I can't say I have, no.
I have another question specifically to Colton as a lawyer.
Sure, yes.
I hear things on the internet that specifically talk about Matt being not a good lawyer, like even a bad lawyer. Like how would you assess? Obviously, you're not defending superheroes, super criminals, however, vigilantes, I would assume, but how would you rate Matt's legal skills as displayed in the show?
I mean, he's well spoken. He's
okay.
I don't think he's a bad lawyer in the sense that he doesn't show up to court on time most of the time, and he seems to neglect prepping for his cases most of the time as well. So he's a bad lawyer from that standpoint. I actually would say this is the strongest legal stuff that the Daredevil show entirely has had. There's been some. There's one of the things. It's just a TV thing. Is a lot of times lawyers will in the TV shows will start testifying like in the middle of like direct or cross examination of someone. It's just like, no, that's not what this is for. You got argument later. Like you don't get to do that, right? You don't get to tell a story. And so like that's one thing in season 2 is like he's just like telling a story while Frank's on the stand. Like that's your witness. Like you don't get to just tell a story. Frank is the witness. He's the one that's talking. Would have been objected to like 300 times. Especially because they do the same thing in season 2 in this where it's the DA. The DA is the one that's actually prosecuting it. It's like head honcho is there, and it's like head honcho probably knows to object when you're fucking testifying for your witness. So I thought the legal stuff generally was actually pretty well handled in this trial, particularly the trial of the White Tiger stuff, you know, and like as a lawyer, I mean, is it questionable to like reveal that your client is a fucking vigilante on the stand?
It's a risky move.
Or even morally.
It's definitely morally and ethically questionable. I mean, I guess it worked in a way. He did get acquitted, so it did work from that standpoint.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a little problematic, but, you know, I guess, you know, desperate times, desperate measures. So I don't think he's the worst attorney in terms of the actual, like, skills. I mean, it's clear from the original Netflix show, Foggy has always been the better attorney because he actually cares and, you know, shows up and does the things.
Hey, he only has one job, okay?
Karen does the legwork when she's, you know, not reporting or whatever. So I think Foggy's always, when sometimes she shoots people and, you know, maybe they deserve it, you know? So it's okay. It's okay. You know, it's okay to shoot people if they deserve it, right?
Do you live in Florida?
Is that your legal advice?
You're clearly from Florida.
Stand your ground, right? Castle Doctrine. Frank Castle Doctrine.
Oh, no.
So my answer is he could be worse. I have seen worse. I have seen worse attorneys than Matt Murdock. Let's put it that way.
His client walked.
He did say at the end of the
for
day,
a little bit.
His client walked
for a little bit
into a white tiger costume
out into the night,
out into the park to get shot in the head. But that's not Matt's fault necessarily. I mean, it is that he exposed him.
I mean, it kind of is.
He might have gotten shot anyway, just if White Tiger happened to be seen. But no, he got shot because he was acquitted and made the corrupt cops look bad. So
it's true.
Yeah.
I will say
that fucking.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that apartment fight was brutal.
That's what I was going to say.
All right. Well, then go ahead and say it. I'm sorry.
I was going to say
talking too much.
The biggest thing about this, well, there's a lot of good things about this first arc, but the biggest thing for me was when he's trying to save that witness and he brings him up to the apartment or whatever.
Broke the dude's hand or arm.
Broke his arm. Just fuck these guys up, man. It was
fucking
brutal.
brutal as fuck in this show.
Brutal.
I love that part.
Yeah,
like, just how brutal he is with that. And like, I mean, he doesn't kill people, but the way he like fucking slammed that guy onto the ground, I was like, that dude's neck should be broken. He's fine.
It probably is. He's probably paralyzed. You know,
it's a Spider-Man.
But he's fine in the next episode. It's the same guy that's like a piece of shit that he keeps running into through the rest of the season.
Man, and that one guy got kicked into the train, or that one guy fell into the train. That was another thing.
Wow,
show's very brutal. And
who did it? Why did Hector do it? That's the question. Or did he? I don't know.
You know, this iteration of Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil and this Daredevil, it's continued. The brutality is in like the line you walk is kind of always what I thought about Batman. But I always thought that Daredevil's done it better. You know, Matt Reeves' Batman was pretty brutal. I thought it was pretty good. But
it wasn't quite this brutal, though. I don't think.
No,
or at least it wasn't as graphic. I guess, if nothing else.
Right, but I've always thought as Batman being like this. You know what I mean?
He's not going to kill you, but you might be drinking out of a straw, you know, or a tube for the rest of your fucking life.
Exactly. It's a very fine line. Batman. And yeah, so I don't know.
No, it's okay that they're paralyzed for life because they're still alive, so it's okay.
right.
These hospital bill, Batman.
Fine line. You know,
famous billionaire philanthropist.
What I think Daredevil says. Daredevil says that. Fuck, it was a brilliant line. It was so well written. That is one thing about this show. I feel like it's very well written. And I don't know if it's like an episodic thing or what. Certain episodes are written better than others, but I feel like it's very quotable. Certain episodes are at least very quotable. And I think at one time he says, I believe in forgiveness, but I also believe in retribution or something like that. Before he can proceeds to like fuck somebody up, and it was awesome. It was very good. I can't remember exactly what the quote was, but it
was something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways,
I think the thing about the trial that worked for me was after kind of that silliness of getting the mask. I thought the testimonies and like the basically the heroics of the White Tiger, even though they weren't displayed, I actually thought worked well for the theme of like, this is what a hero does. And like, it's
the right thing to do.
Yeah.
They go out
hammering that. Yeah.
And I thought that did work for me. I think that's one of the superhero themes that I particularly enjoy. And it's been done so many times, but I think it's like a person who's just trying to do good and ended up in this scenario. And he's been consistent. Like he's just trying to do right for his community. He's helped cops at times and he saved them. So like, why would he just go rogue and kill this cop?
Why is he going to throw a fucking cop in front of a train? Like,
right.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't have minded seeing more White Tiger in action because I feel
definitely
we didn't get any. It was really kind of just straight into like we see like cell phone footage and stuff like that, and it's kind of generally true. Like there are other vigilantes kind of either shown or kind of hinted at, and I think it would be. I think we'll get a little bit more of it in season 2, and we'll get there. But I think that it would be interesting to see New York with all these vigilantes actually operating in it. More head on than it is in the kind of way I guess it was done in this season. But anyway, just a thought.
They kind of killed him off dirty. He just straight shot in the dome and goes out.
Yeah, no, that was rough. I will say though, I watched the first 2 episodes of this. I think they put them out the same day, so you guys might have done it too. The first episode, I was like, I'm not super sold on this. When they ended that second episode with the fight, and not just the fight, but then Matt just going, and it just cuts him off like mid screen. I was like, all right, okay, I think I could be in. I think
I'm in.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. It's kind of just what it felt like.
Exactly. I'm definitely in the same boat. Said, holy shit.
Oh man, yeah, that was good.
I'm a simple. I've said it a million times. Simple man, simple pleasures. You show me,
there you go.
Cool stuff. I'm here
cool
for
shit.
Stuff. Yeah. Cool stuff gets you, man. So then I think we have an episode, the next one, which is Matt's representing the guy that steals the caramel corn or whatever, right? And this is kind of I think trying to. Ann and I got angry about this because this one hit too close to home of just it's very much trying to drive home a point of the system fucks people over, etc. And it's
right,
like, and we had a conversation. I was like, yeah, but at the end of the day, he is stealing caramel corn, so it's. I think there's a legitimate question of, okay, did he need that? Should he be punished for that? I think we came out on saying 10 days is actually a pretty legit. Like that's a pretty fair sentence given his prior record. It's, he's very obviously pissed off with Matt that he didn't get probation, but just his whole demeanor and everything about that was definitely that was pretty accurate, I would say. You definitely run into people like that in this business, but yeah, this one I don't know. There are other episodes that stood out to me more than this one is kind of how I'd feel about it. Six Sipper Systema. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on this. I think the next one is maybe one that I have a suspicion we'll have more to say on, but
I don't got anything else.
No, I can't remember anything about that episode aside from
all right, well then
caramel corn.
You stole it. Let's talk about some fucking bank robberies then, solicitor. Yeah, with interest. We were starting to get some. We get a little fun MCU cameo connection here in Yusuf Khan, Kamala's dad, who's an assistant bank manager. This is like a bottle episode, right? It's kind of a one-off sort of deal. Matt's at a bank, and what do you know? The Irish are coming on St. Paddy's Day. There's the it's the same song that's in Sinners, which as soon as it played, we're just like, oh. For a second, I think as you probably would have watched this before Sinners.
Right.
So you didn't have the same reaction as Anna and I did. We were just like, oh, it's just an Irish song. It's just, it is what it is. But yeah, a little, shorter 40-ish minute sort of bank robbery deal. I thought this was a lot of fun. Did you guys like this one?
Dare I say, this may be my favorite episode.
I had a suspicion that this is what you were alluding to as perhaps your favorite, because it is, if you're going to say, like, this is the least plot essential episode in the entire season, I think without a doubt. I mean, it truly does not advance the plot, I don't think, in any way whatsoever.
No.
But it's fucking fun. And
it's Daredevil.
Great Matt sort of daredeviling about, obviously in civilian attire, and it gives you some broader MCU connections.
Just walks into the bank.
It's got a guy doing good because it's the right thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's vigilanting about foiling a bank robbery, and if you want to see some more broken bones,
he
fucking breaks that guy's leg, and it's brutal looking.
It is terrible.
He mangles the fuck out of that guy.
You gotta have a hallway fight,
The quote from this
Hallway
episode
staircase.
was, "Jesus wept." Just like that right there.
Jesus wept.
Jesus wept. I've never heard that line ever. I've never heard that sentence. I've never heard that phrase ever. Oh, fuck, he's an orphan. Jesus wept. I think it's just the best.
It's like, you're like a wee Charles Dickens character.
It's the best fucking thing. I laughed so hard.
That was actually hilarious.
I laughed so hard. And if I take anything away from this season of Daredevil, it's he's the wee Dickens. Jesus wept. Oh, it's a brilliant fucking line. I loved it.
The Irish.
Oh, it was so good.
We got to hear Charlie do his Irish accent, which apparently he did in the whole show.
Yeah,
I think he's Irish in Ken, maybe, but it was fun.
But these robbers were from Northern Ireland, right?
Oh yeah, that might be true. Yeah.
I don't know. I just that line alone just really cut deep. It really cut me deep, dude. I thought it was fucking funny. I cried.
Did you like
that was pretty good. Yeah.
Did you guys like the joke that the detective told about?
Oh yeah, I was like, damn, that's some high stakes joke.
Yeah.
I remember the thing.
I
remember you could tell me a joke, and if you make me laugh, I'm not going to shoot somebody or something. But I can't remember the joke it was. I can't remember it.
Something about. Well, I think I remember the punchline. Something about fucking a penguin.
Oh, okay. This I had a lot of fun with this episode. It had the action. It had the humor.
Comedy.
It showed the, like, I don't know. It really showed off the character and like what he's about.
Yeah, like how clever and and like obviously like right, what he wants to do. Like he's left the bank. He goes back to the bank when he hears shit's about to go down, because that's what he does.
Right.
And then once he's in there,
it shows how he's clever, and it shows how he gets shit done. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Very excited.
I was just saying, I just like anytime Matt plays up the blind thing, because obviously he's blind, but he there are other ways to see. So, he'll just walk in. Is someone there? Is there anything going on? Like, what's going on here?
He just walks into a bank that's being held hostage.
It's perfect. It's awesome.
That's funny.
It's incredible.
I mean, that's part
fun.
of the humor, obviously, but yeah. No, it's just very fun.
Yeah.
And then he gives the candy back at the end of the episode.
Well, the candy, quote unquote, the candy.
Yeah. Brilliant
really
episode.
Fun.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of fun.
Very, very fun. All right. Well, then I think that pretty much brings us to the I guess the Muse arc. We're really at the kind of final two arcs. There's the 8 and 9, but Muse is kind of this villain that gets 2 episodes here. He's a creepy serial killer man who paints murals with blood, with the blood of his victims and stuff, and he's a creepy guy. He's a real creepy guy. I
this one worked. I don't know.
I liked him. I'd seen some complaints that he felt like I think people expected him to be a season-long villain and continue possibly into next season, and I was kind of just like, I'm good. I think I'm good with 2. I don't know if you guys felt differently. Like, interesting and like kind of like this was fine, and like all well and good, but I didn't need more. I mean, there was the kind of thing where when he first encounters them underground, like in the railroad, like they have like a big hand-to-hand fight, and it's just like, how the fuck is this dude how can this dude fight like that? And then the next episode,
Taekwondo.
They're like, yeah, he's like a fucking master Taekwondo dude. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
But also, he's
They
like
backdoored
a
into that shit. they backdoored into that. No Taekwondo, bullshit. I'm taking Taekwondo with Bennett. They don't teach me that shit,
This guy is miserable. But when he was a child, he learned everything about Taekwondo. It was a little silly, but I was like, all right, they wanted a fight scene. I get it. Yeah, what'd you guys think? Any thoughts on this kind of the Muse stuff, the Muse arc?
I thought Muse was a bit of a dipshit, personally. I didn't really care for that.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. I was just kind of whatever. I was like,
That's fine.
The arc didn't really do much. I thought they were like trying to build it up and ended, and I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, I guess.
What is it?
I don't know. I don't want more, but
what is it with Matt and women who like to shoot people multiple times? There seems to be some sort
that's
of
smart
connection.
though. You get yourself a woman who
It's like, yeah, she'll do the things that you're not willing to do
Like-
yourself because of
Exactly.
Catholic guilt.
and
Yeah, that's what it is.
yeah. I mean, you don't want this dude coming back. Like you gotta double tap at least.
Nip
like,
it in the
make
bud.
sure he's
That
gone.
was like a
Yeah.
quadruple to quintuple tap, I think.
Yeah.
overall. I
You
think
know,
we're a little bit out of self-defense realm, but it's okay because she didn't actually kill him. It was actually the anti-vigilante task force that did it, right?
no.
True.
Yeah, we haven't talked about them. I think
ICE.
I think they're newly assembled. Yeah. So that's a thing. So here's the whole thing. I mean, it is no secret, obviously, who Fisk, I think, is inspired by.
This show is
the-
on the nose. It could
Sleepy
not
Joe.
be any more on the nose.
And I don't think it's.
I mean, it
I don't
probably
think that's a
could
bad
have been,
thing. Like I think it's. I think it's fine that. A lot of the things we talked about at the very beginning of this year when we did our look ahead, it's like sometimes people don't listen to the message until you present it to them in a fictional form, and then they suddenly get it. You know what I mean? And it's
That's
like,
right.
It's like here's literally kind of
Although-
the fucking. Go ahead.
I think Fisk is a lot more competent.
Well, yes.
Whereas, like he has an idea, he has a plan. Like
Yes.
he's kind of a criminal mastermind, right?
Right.
So,
right.
like,
You could argue that Fisk alone is kind of the equivalent of everyone in a certain administration.
Sure.
Like put together in terms of competence levels. But it's. I mean, there's no secret about like what the fuck this is inspired by, and what it's a commentary on. And to me, it just begs the question of like. And this is honestly jumping ahead to the next episode. Like Thunderbolts has a little bit of a message to it, and it's just like, what the fuck happened with Captain America: Brave New World, the movie A about Captain America, B against the President of the United States, who C turns into a big red rage monster, and like, how did that become so devoid of any political commentary, and yet this is as fucking on the nose, if you will. And Thunderbolts has actually like something to say too, and it's just, to me, it's just like, do they just not care about the TV stuff? Like, because we know that no one's watching that except for the people that actually care about this sort of thing. Whereas the movies are going to get coverage regardless, so they feel like they have to sanitize them. Or maybe Brave New World just had nothing to say in the first place, and there was nothing to sanitize. I don't know. To me, it's just kind of crazy that like both of these are technically coming from Marvel Studios. Like, obviously, one is the film side, one's the TV side, but this goes pretty far and continues to escalate through its finale in terms of all this messaging. And it's just like, how, like, I'm not mad that they're doing it. I think it's a good thing that they're doing it. I think it's uncomfortable to watch at times, and it's like frustrating to watch because it's like,
It's topical, though.
like,
it's
it's topical.
a movie. It's
for
a movie
sure,
of the
it's topical.
times, or show of the times.
And, like, damn, I wish there was a fucking Daredevil in the goddamn real world that, I feel like I could rally around, you know what I mean?
damn.
That we got a bunch of fucking useless Congress people, who are effectively powerless to do anything, but, trying to do what they can with the Congress people who actually could do something about it, who are just like, what? Everything's fine. But I don't know. It, to me, is just kind of crazy that, like, this goes as far as it does with the anti-vigilante task force, with with all of it. I mean, the abuse of power, political power and everything, and like how far it takes it, martial law by the end, like fucking hell, man. Like it's no secret what they're doing, but I don't know. It's interesting that they are able to take it as far as they have. So anyway, I think the Fisk stuff here, I think is probably pretty interesting. Probably the more interesting side of this, because what we haven't talked about too is Miss Vanessa stepped out on him at one point.
Vanessa
and Vanessa met Adam in his lovely hands. He doesn't like her. He doesn't like this man's hands. Let's put it that way.
Clearly not.
Yeah, just the deranged fucking shit of, he's got this lover of her, sexual partner, I guess we'll say, of his wife's, and locked up, and gives him this fucking axe and beats the fuck out of him anyway. just some fucking nonsense, crazy bullshit that this, like, Fisk, man. And I think that, like, this is, because I guess this is really, by episode 7, this is when Matt finally suits back up as Daredevil. To me, thematically, this is where it is actually very interesting, where it's just like, you are who you are, and as much as they have, like, there's even the thing that Matt says to Heather, I think at one point, of like, I kind of feel like my life is fake. And she's like really offended and taken aback, but it's just like, yeah, it is fake, bitch. Where's Foggy? Where's Karen? Where's Daredevil? You're just being a fucking, who are you? Who are you? You're just like, started a law firm with some nobody that we don't know. Like, we don't know these people, like, who are you? This is fake bullshit. We want the real bullshit. Give us the Netflix shit, man. And so I think, like, I don't know if that was a, like, 80-yard line that they put in after the fact, or if that was just an unintentional, like, sort of genius level dialogue that was in the original version, was just like, yeah, you are just kind of living a different life than who you actually are. But I love seeing that these two people, they are who they are. Matt is fucking Daredevil. He will always be Daredevil, as much as he resists it and feels like he shouldn't do it because he might be tempted to go over the edge again and push someone off a rooftop. And Fisk, he's a very stable genius. He likes will always go back
sausage, to at least 20% fat.
It was like, that was like 4 sausages, bro. There was like 4 sausages in that. And it's funny because I was just like, man. And they make a point earlier, like, he's a little thinner. Dude is fucking bulking up in this show, and it's like a plot point that dude is making gains, which I thought was very funny. But yeah, they are who they are. Fisk will be Kingpin, Matt will be Daredevil, and I just love that kind of symbolism and the way that those two, right, and just the way those two are. They're always connected in that way, and they always will kind of revert back to their true state. I thought that was really, really well done, really interesting on a thematic level.
Can we ever really change?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess if you're Matt and Fisk, the answer is nah, not really. You kind of just go right back to who you really are. So yeah, that was good. So that brings us to, I guess, the last couple episodes, which kind of tied together as well. I mean, I guess we get a little follow up on. Well, we talked a lot about, I guess the Foggy follow up and kind of what that all leads to, and the Red Hook stuff. So we don't really, I guess, need to address that too much. But beyond that, Dex is back. Dex is getting his face smashed and using that to his benefit.
Oh, with the tooth thing, right?
Killed a man with his tooth. I went back and I showed Eastling that. I'm like, you gotta see this scene. This man just killed people with his teeth. Has she ever seen that?
Yeah.
She was impressed.
I mean, that's very impressive, I think. So she should be. Yeah, no, and then Dex gets out, and everyone's at a ball. There's a big dance sequence. Everyone's dancing, having a merry good time, except for Matt, who's fucking
getting shot.
Well, he's getting shot.
Well, before that,
he's also, I think, kind of probably mad at his girlfriend, who was just like, "I beat you." So it's like, well, you had a little help. You may have shot him dead, but I'm not sure it's fair for you to take sole credit. I don't think that's how it was. A group project at a minimum. It's trouble in paradise there, because I think he's starting to realize, Oh wait, I don't know that I actually really agree with my girlfriend on a lot of the things that she's
not Karen.
She's not Karen. Oh, that's right, because he wakes up out of the when he first wakes up.
Oh my,
he's like,
that was
Karen?
brutal.
And she's like, huh?
She literally broke up with him right then and there. She was like,
mean,
I'm out. I'm gonna go work for Fisk. Fuck you.
Yeah. She does go work for Fisk. So I think
Immediately after.
That was incredible. I mean, to be fair, I felt that this way prior to this episode. I was like, Heather kind of sucks. I don't really like her. I don't really like them together. So I'm hoping that this is not intended to be anything more than just this season. I think it's fair to say that's the case. But yeah, Dex breaks out and he shoots Matt, but he's not trying to shoot Matt. Matt jumps and takes a bullet for goddamn Wilson Fisk. So did you guys watch this and then have a week off? Were you like, oh my God,
yeah,
did
I think I
kill
did.
Daredevil?
I think it did.
I was like, this show's over. There's no more Daredevil.
I guess Iron Fist is
Series
going to have to
done.
put the mask on.
Iron Fist is gonna come back.
Danny, you must become the devil, Danny. The devil of Hell's Kitchen, Danny.
Did we even go to Hell's Kitchen at any point in this? I feel like we weren't.
I don't know if it's literally in Hell's Kitchen. I will say
I don't
though,
think they were even supposed to be in Hell's Kitchen. They were like a new office or.
That's true. Yeah, it's kind of it's like a different neighborhood. And that's true. I think
they're
it was
like
kind of not
Upper East Side or
intentionally.
something like that.
Also, Hell's Kitchen's fucking tiny. It's like 5 blocks. I mean,
Right.
not literally, but it's
Yeah, he
pretty
talked
small.
about Hell's Kitchen like it's an entire city.
Hell's Kitchen is the entirety of New York City. No, it's like 5 blocks, dude.
Also, like
over
very
yourself.
gentrified and like.
Yeah. I will say though, something that's just a global pulling the thing back. It's clear that they shot this in New York, and I really, really liked how New York it was. Like, there's some things in this show, like the BB reports, I didn't really care for super much. With the,
That was kind of
random New
lame.
Yorkers.
That was kind of bullshit. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, like
I didn't like the reports. I kind of like how her character was like, oh yeah, like I know what's going on. Like
her character was interesting, and they did make her character interesting by the end of being like, yeah, I know that this fucking dude killed my uncle, and I'm here doing other things, but yeah. Anyway, so there's this kind of thing, and what does Wilson Fisk in his infinite wisdom decide is the right thing to do to repay Matt Murdock for saving his life? Kill him.
He made me look out.
This proposes a great opportunity.
Yeah. So that doesn't go so well for him, but yeah, this fucking, I mean, any thoughts on episode 8, I guess, before we really get into the finale? Because the finale is where shit really
Let's
fucking
just
popped
get
off.
into it.
The finale, fucking Frank's back. He's gotten a shave. he's but he's oh man, we got some glorious fucking Punisher stuff in this episode.
Jesus.
Going to town on these fucking cops who have co-opted his Punisher skull, and and like, oh, we really admire you. You're like we totally support you, man. You're so cool. And he's like,
You're all clowns.
y'all just a bunch of clowns, man.
Oh god, I love Bernthal as the Punisher so
He's
much.
great.
Like
He's so good.
He just brings a brutality, but also like a human element to the character too. He's like, you don't know my pain. Like, who are you? He's like, I'm gonna kill you all. But I really loved him as a Punisher. I think it really elevated the show.
Totally agree. And this was like, I don't know, just like right back where you wanted him to, from season 2, like that's fucking the Punisher, man. That's Frank. And I guess the Netflix show too. But like the Netflix show like oscillated in how much punishing he did.
When Matt, what does he do? He's like trying to save the guy that the Punisher's trying to kill. And he's like, why are you trying to save this guy? You care about that guy? He just kills the other guy.
Yeah. Yeah, the banter between those two. You gonna kill Fisk with your ass out, Red? Whatever he says. Oh man. Yeah. I would say this is my favorite episode personally, because it felt
Probably
the closest tonally and in line with like the original Netflix show, which obviously I just spent 39 episodes watching plus Defenders. So it's kind of like, I like that show for a reason. And I think just narratively, thematically, it all just kind of came together and was really interesting. Like seeing the horrifying shit of this, they do the power blackout and then, you just have a cop fucking shooting a looter dead. And it's like, oh, he's a vigilante. He's not a kid. Put a fucking mask on him. Like just some horrible, gross shit.
Yikes.
And just how awful it is. And I've kind of seen this, and I think, I don't remember who said it or if it was just like a comment I read, but it's just like Fisk wins. Like the end of this season is Fisk has won because he's the mayor. He is basically made himself untouchable. He is now reverted back to full kingpin where he's A-okay with illegal shit. He's going to smush a commissioner's skull to send a message to the corrupt cops that, hey, it's okay to be corrupt and kill civilians. I will protect you. It's okay to throw people in cages without due process. If only there was a foreign country we could send them to, things would be gravy. It's fucking dark. It's fucking bleak. This season finale is fucking bleak. And like, there are the moments, there's a Punisher, like it's to me, it's like, yes, good. Kill all these fucking corrupt cops who, I wish Frank was able to kill them all. But we didn't get that. He does get out though. Mid-credit scene. He does get out though. Hope you guys watch that. Yeah, I don't know. This one was just, it was really like a pretty awesome culmination of things. And then a setup and tease for the future of, all right, we can't let this stand. We have to be on the side of good, and we have to rebel. We have to resist. It's fucking some Star Wars rebellion shit, man, of just being like, we're not going to just roll over and let this happen. Like we're going to push back. We're going to fight back against blatant, obvious corruption, abuse of power, against obviously illegal shit. Like, yeah, it's kind of inspiring to see people take a stand and against these sorts of things. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have other thoughts.
Seems pretty topical.
Finale particularly.
Pretty topical.
Definitely topical. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think this was like, we're getting back to like what this show was before, or the Netflix show. So I think this is what made me the most hopeful.
Mission statement is like, we are so back, baby.
And it really, it really puts Kingpin in a position of true, like, villainy. You know what I mean? Like
oh, totally.
Like large scale, like,
and yeah, like there's maybe in the very first episodes, like, yeah, he's done a lot of legal shit. He's definitely killed people.
And even like
he's legitimately trying to do good. Maybe he is turning over a new leaf, but by the mid-season, midpoint of the season, it's like, no, he is who he is. He's
and like more so really than this is one thing that I think that it really like it just one-upped the Netflix stuff. Is the Netflix stuff? He's got a criminal empire, right? And that's villainy enough. Right, that's pretty fucking scary, right? You got a criminal kingpin in charge of his whatever, but now that same person is now in charge of like your local government.
Right, it's legitimate power. It's like
exactly.
It's one thing to.
What do you do now?
He's a criminal. He's the head of a criminal empire. Arrest him. Convict him, put him in jail, like put him in prison. It's like, yeah, okay. Here it's like, the same thing should happen, but you're fighting extra layers of a legitimate system that is designed and is being weaponized against you. And how could you possibly resist?
How do you fight back?
Like you as Daredevil, if we're just going to take it in terms of the shows, like you're a vigilante. There is an anti-vigilante task force who will kill you on sight. How do you fight that? So probably get some super powered friends or add some more bulletproof layers to your suit might be a good start.
I don't know, but it's definitely an interesting dynamic. The good fight. Anyways, so yeah, I think it's topical. I think it's kind of scary to think about. It's scary that it is topical. But anyways, it's Daredevil, man. It's a good show.
Back in season 3 came out. It's like, oh. This big criminal has corrupted the FBI, and it's like, wow, this is pure fiction. Sometimes you can't just help but laugh. But but yeah, that kind of just leaves us in a place of season 2 is coming. It's being filmed. It's coming down pipeline. And it'll be out next year. The plan is to make this an annual show, so we're not waiting 2-3 years between every season, which I think is really, really exciting. Like a traditional TV model, which is kind of you could do that. But we do have one last final headline because Matt says he needs an army. Matt said that he needed an army, and we know at least one person who's going to be coming back from the original Netflix shows to the MCU, to Daredevil Born Again Season 2, and that is Krysten Ritter as Jessica Jones. She's going to be back. It's been officially announced. They revealed that she will be returning at like a press event not too long ago. So I don't know, man.
Missed opportunity.
Are we one or two steps away from a Luke Cage and an Iron Fist joining the fold? I say fucking bring them. Hey, look, anti-vigilante task force. You need an army. You got to get whoever you can. You got to get.
No, you leave Iron
Cage.
Fist.
You got to get Iron Fist. Maybe it's a new Iron Fist. It's the new Iron Fist that's not Danny. I don't know. You got to get. I mean, you got Frank, sort of. He's kind of sort of there. You got Swordsman. He's in a cage right now, but Swordsman can sword up.
That fucking guy. That's a bit of a doucher.
I
thought wasn't that what's her face's like stepdad or some shit?
Yeah, it's Kate Bishop. I always want to call her Kate Barton. I'm like, that's not right.
Didn't he die, or did he not die?
No.
I could have swore he died.
No, he's good. They painted him as the bad, like they thought he was the bad guy in Hawkeye, but it turns out the mom was the evil one. So, he was legit. He just loves fucking swords, man. He just loves swords. You got to respect the guy.
Yeah, can you blame him? Yeah,
he just loves swords, and he's rich, so he just when in his spare time likes to fight people with swords. I think there's probably one obvious vigilante who operates in New York City who probably should be in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, but almost certainly will not be in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. And that might be Spider-Man, because one would think Wilson Fisk might have an issue with a certain Spider-Man. I would love for this fucking storyline to roll over into Brand New Day. It's not going to happen because probably, I don't know. I think with the annual TV thing, we're probably morphing more back into the model previously of things don't really play too closely with each other, unless there's some big obvious seismic thing that has to happen that everyone has to work around. But I don't know. Maybe Spider-Man's off in a different city, for his movie. I don't know, but yeah.
He's only in Hell's Kitchen.
All 5 blocks. He's swinging back and forth. Just one web gets him back and forth the entirety of Hell's Kitchen. So he can cover territory very quickly, which is very impressive. So yeah, what do you guys, any wants, wishes for season 2? Characters, army, other vigilantes you'd like to see? Anything in general? What do you think? Foggy not dead? Foggy back?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, the rumors that Foggy's here. Is it flashbacks or is he back from the dead? Is he? Right.
Foggy.
I don't know. The show is so much better with Foggy, but on the other hand, it seems
multiverse Foggy.
Like, yeah, but it seems like such a kind of retcon if we spent the whole thing about Foggy's being dead to just bring her back. So I don't know. I guess I'd rather have him stay dead if that's what they committed to, and then just do flashbacks. Yeah,
I don't know. I think I'm gonna. We'll wait and see. If they are going to do it that route, they got to do it well. You know what I mean? Like, they got to convince us that, because Matt heard his fucking heart stop. Like, Matt can hear everything, so it's like they really going to have to earn that if they are going to go some sort of fake out route, which it definitely seems like was not obviously set up by how they shot everything. Let's put it that way. But maybe that's the point. Who's to say? We could just be coping. All the fans are just like, fuck, you can't be dead. I don't know. Rosario Dawson back when she can leave the set of Ahsoka. Go hang out in New York for a couple days. That'd be nice. I don't know.
She was night nurse, wasn't she?
She was night nurse. She was not a vigilante, and I don't think she should be. Oh, and I think they were clearly setting up Hector's niece to probably be a White Tiger successor, which is kind of how that is in the comics, which I could see that could be fun. Yeah, I don't know who else would make sense, but I don't know. Like I said, I would kind of like to see like this all stuff is coming to a head, like anti-vigilante task force. Let's get all the vigilantes out on the streets and have a big fucking,
civil war.
Big civil war sort of fracas,
Yeah, maybe have Bob join in.
Bob could be there. Bob could be there.
Bob will fuck him up.
Oh man, we'll talk about Bob quite soon. All right, any other final thoughts? That's it for Daredevil Born Again Season 1 for me. I think I've said a lot, probably the most of anyone, but again, recency probably playing a factor there. So yeah, final thoughts. Daredevil Born Again Season 1.
I think we covered it all. Well done, gentlemen.
Yeah, I think ready for Season 2, whenever that comes.
2026. We should be expecting it. 2026. Well, that will do it then for this episode, because we are going to skip catching up for now and catch up on our next episode on Thunderbolts. So I will say thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. We are on Patreon at patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat and get early access to all of our regular episodes and timed exclusive access to some bonus episode that we might cook up in the future. Website's watchreviewrepeat.com. We are on some of the socials. We're on Blue Sky at watchreviewrepeat.bsky.social, Instagram at watchreviewrepeat, facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, thoughts on Daredevil, Born Again Season 1, or Thunderbolts for that matter, you can send it to watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. If you got something to say, please send it our way. Intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. I will say thank you to Henrique for joining us for this episode, and hopefully we see you soon.
Very shortly.
For Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts! Like the Thunderbolts. That's
sponsored by Shane's Electric.
Oh yeah.
Company.
Alrighty. Well, until next time, I'll let Andrew take everyone out.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Later's on the Menjay.